Welcome to Kernel at the Buzzer, where we update you on all things sports around the University of Kentucky. My name is Drew Metanchuk.
I'm Brett Ramsey.
And I'm Jack Tobin. In this week's episode, we'll be going over Kentucky men's and women's basketball season opener, Kentucky's top 25 rivalry game against Louisville on Tuesday, Kentucky actually winning an SEC football game, and Kentucky's volleyball team getting a signature win.
The opinions expressed on this podcast are the speaker's own and do not uphold the opinion expressed by the Kentucky Kernel.
The women's basketball team started their season 1-0 and extending their streak for home openers and season openers to 17 wins. It was a pretty defensive game all around. It was a pretty messy game on offense, I would say. I think the two star players of the game, though, were Jordan Obi and Claire Strack, who put up 15 points and 15 rebounds. Double-doubles for both. What do you guys think?
Yeah, they were the first UK duo to have 15 points and 15 rebounds in the same game since 2016. Jordan Obi's coming off a season-ending leg injury, so it was her UK debut. Great to see that. They really did well on the defensive end and rebounding, and that kind of helped them make up for a pretty rough offensive night. They won the rebounding margin 54-33, with 20 of those coming on the offensive end. And they finished with 12 steals and 9 blocks. A little note is that before Kenny Brooks arrived, there were only 3 games in program history where Kentucky had 12 or more blocks. And since Kenny Brooks has arrived, they've done it 5 times in 32 games. So we're starting to see kind of a shift in Kentucky basketball and what we can get used to seeing as the Brooks era continues.
Yeah, you talked about Jordan Obi's game, but Claire Strack, last year she was the co-star to Georgia Amore. This year it's her team. She was picked as a SEC all-second team, which surprised many, as many thought she was deserved of the first team SEC. But 15-15 and then also having 3 blocks and 3 steals, just a monster game coming off of a Defensive Player of the Year for the SEC last year. What else would you have to add?
I mean, obviously we've talked about the defense in the game. Morehead State actually started off pretty hot in the game with first 7 points of the game and leading Kentucky early, but then Kentucky responded with a 16-0 run and took control of the game from the rest, pretty much was in the driver's seat for the rest of the game. So I think all around it was obviously not the prettiest game to watch, but season opener, you get that win. That's a statement piece right there. Even though you could say it's against Morehead State, it's a kind of wash game. You still play. You have to find the rhythm, and I think they really found the rhythm, especially later on in the game.
Yeah, to shoot 4 for 24 from 3 and still win a game against anyone. That's how teams get upset, especially when you shoot awful from 3. You're vulnerable for the upset, but on the defensive end, out-rebounded them. So getting a win and starting 1-0 is very impressive against anyone.
The three-point shooting is very important for Kenny Brooks' teams. At least it was last year. So it's kind of worrying to see them struggle, but you wonder how much of that you can attribute to just first-game jitters and getting used to everything. But another thing that could be cause for concern is they really struggled to close out the game. In the fourth quarter, they shot 3 for 16 as a team, which comes out to 18%. Not ideal, but thanks to their defense, they were able to hold on to their lead and walk away with a 17-point win.
Who do you guys think are going to be the key players then shooting from threes? Shooting from 3.
Amelia Hassett for sure. She took 70-something% of her shots from three-point range last year, and a lot of Kentucky's success on offense was dependent on if Hassett could hit her three-point attempts. So she'll definitely be key.
Yeah, I agree. She's going to be their best three-point shooter probably and lead the team in attempts for the season. And if she's hot, then it's going to be tough to stop the inside as well.
Someone else to keep an eye on, though, is Western Kentucky transfer Josie Gilvin. Kentucky girl, she can shoot it, and if she gets hot, I think she'll make a difference on the team for sure.
Moving on to Kentucky men's basketball, a 77-51-point win over Nicholls in Rupp Arena. The Wildcats looked a little rusty in the first half, shooting 32% from the floor. But they turned it up after halftime, and Colin Chandler did too. He was on fire in the second half after dropping a career-high 15 points, hitting all his threes, and had potentially dunk of the year. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I mean, it's pretty much all I've seen on social media from the game. And people outside of the UK basketball sphere have really taken notice. Like, I saw Lil Wayne tweet about it. LeBron liked a video on it. It's when something like that happens and reaches people outside of just Lexington or UK basketball fans in general, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I thought that was the dunk of the year, and it happened in Game 1. I mean, Otego had a few highlight moments last year, but I don't think anything topped this dunk that Chandler had in Game 1. And going into the game, I mean, last year their biggest flaw was their defense. They were 52 in defensive efficiency. This year they came into the season top 15, and then they held Nicholls to 15 points in the first half. I mean, I know they started slow on offense, but being able to hold any team, any D1 team in the country to 15 points is just crazy to me.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, just like we were saying, it just seemed like a pretty unselfish game that Kentucky played. I mean, Denzel Aberdeen was also pretty solid in the game. 10 points, 6 assists, no turnovers. So I think once they found their rhythm, they really found it. They really turned it up.
Yeah, it really was a tale of two halves. They struggled mightily in the first half. They shot just 10 for 31 from the field and 2 for 16 from 3. They had a little injury scare with Trent Noah, but I think at the break there was a lot of relief for Kentucky fans as Mark Pope heard that Noah was good to go, but he held him out just to be cautious. And then Kentucky came out in the second half and really looked like the team that we were expecting. They shot 19 for 31 in the second half, which is good enough for 61%. And then from three-point range, they shot 5 for 11, which comes out to 45%. And if you can be at 45% from three-point range, you feel pretty good about what you got.
Yeah. And then looking ahead to the Louisville game. That's a pretty big game, obviously. So, in-state rival, what are you guys' thoughts on that?
It'll be interesting to see how Kentucky bounces back against Valparaiso. They've got one more game to kind of right the ship and make sure that they can put it together fully for a whole game rather than just one half. But I think they'll have that opportunity and feel pretty good going into the Louisville game.
I really want to know who we will have available, though. Noah went down last game, and then we don't know what we're going to see from Lowe. I know Quintance is doubtful, but I think we need to be healthy if we're going to have a shot on this game because Louisville looks really good. I know Kentucky fans hate to admit when Louisville does something good, but they absolutely look dominant in their first game.
I mean, overall, it's going to be a pretty even match. This game sells. So I think it's going to just come down to, like you said, the injuries and seeing who's available. I think without Quaintance, it's just going to be kind of tough for them to keep the momentum going, especially also, like you said, after the Valparaiso game. We're going to have to really see, especially after this game, and see where we're at after Valparaiso. So we'll see how Kentucky's looking, but so far it seems to be pretty good.
Yeah, something that stood out to me in Louisville's season opener is they attempted 32 threes. If that's something that they keep up, Kentucky cannot have a first half where they shoot as poorly as they did against Nicholls. Like, they'll need to be able to hit it pretty consistently to stay in that game.
Yeah, like you said, 32 threes. I mean, Louisville's guard play, they might be the deepest guards in the country. I mean, Mikael Brown Jr., everyone heard about him, the freshman. He's ridiculous. But they also added a few transfers. I mean, it's going to be a really difficult game.
So something that stood out to me is that I don't feel like Louisville really wanted to see a healthy Jaden Quaintance. They're playing before December for the first time since the 1993-94 season. And it seems as if we may not have Lowe or we may not have Noah, they might have done themselves better than they were expecting.
It wasn't flashy, but Kentucky got the job done against Auburn, snapping its SEC losing streak, and the defense completely stole the show. 7 sacks, 12 tackles for loss. It was an all-around defensive masterclass. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's great to get a win, but the sad thing is when you lose to Kentucky these days, you get fired. Auburn's coach Hugh Freeze fired less than 24 hours after losing to Kentucky, but it's always great to get a win.
Yeah, it's tough to see other schools finally coming to the conclusion to fire their head coach, and we're not there yet apparently. But it was kind of just an ugly and boring game. Like, nothing too crazy happened really, but I think that for Kentucky to win a game, especially in conference, that's just how it's going to have to look. It's going to have to be a slugfest, low scoring, that they can just come away with a one touchdown and that be the difference in the game.
It should have happened against Texas, but couldn't pull that one out.
Yeah, and I mean, Cutter Boley's performance in the game was just, to me, was just fine. I mean, 18 for 29, 161 yards, and a touchdown is just, it's not amazing, but it's, in a game like this, it was just fine. I think he's improving, making less mistakes. So we'll see game by game, but I think it's important to keep him around.
Yeah, I think it's great for him. Gets his first SEC conference win, but not his best game. I mean, 2 interceptions, didn't throw the ball great. I mean, it's weird because he played much better in games like Tennessee and Texas, but for him to get a win, I mean, it should build confidence for him.
Yeah, and if Kentucky can keep the defensive pressure up that they did against Auburn, I think that is going to be how they have a shot at beating Florida.
Yeah, Florida's going to be a tough matchup. They're both sitting at 3-5, but Florida held its own last week against 5th-ranked Georgia, 24-20 loss. But they also beat Texas, who was ranked number 9 at the time, 29-21. So they could be a real challenge for Kentucky.
Yeah, like you said, they should have beat Georgia last week. They had a couple. The 4th and 1 didn't go their way. That big no catch controversy call on 3rd and 4. I mean, they could have easily walked out with a win in that rivalry game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like we've mentioned before, it's not going to be an offensive-minded game. Comparing Boley and Lagway, they're pretty neck and neck. I mean, DJ Lagway obviously has kind of Boley's number when it comes to passing yards, but he's got more picks in the season. So I think all around it's going to be defense. Once again, another slugfest, and I'm going to predict another slow-paced game. So.
Yeah, do you guys think there's any shot? I know they're 3-5, so they're not completely out of bowl contention. They need to go 3-4. If they could you consider it a free win against Tennessee Tech?
I think they could win, but I don't think it's a guarantee, to be quite honest with you.
And that's unfortunate that it's come to that, where it's Tennessee Tech. That's a nail-biter, unfortunately.
And they'd need to win that and take 2 of 3 from Florida, Vandy, and Louisville, which is going to be tough.
Yeah, I think the rest of the season, it's just we got one against Auburn, but from here, I don't know. I think it's going to be tough for the rest of the year for Kentucky football.
How many wins do you think they get the rest of the year?
It's tough to say because, I mean, I don't think they're pulling it out against Vanderbilt. I don't think we have it against Louisville. Tennessee Tech, I'm pushing for a W, but and then Florida, I don't think so. So I think maybe just one more win on the season.
I'll play devil's advocate a little bit. I don't think Vandy has looked as strong as they may seem recently, and Stoops has previously done pretty well against Louisville. I mean, they're a great team this year, but we've seen a few times where Stoops will just beat a better Louisville team.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be interesting, but realistically, I would say they maybe win 2 games the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think they win versus Tennessee Tech, and I think they steal one more and finish one short of bowl eligibility.
And that's a fair prediction. I mean, obviously, I think everybody else kind of has that same thought. But what you were saying about the Louisville stuff and the Vanderbilt stuff is 100% true. So I think only time will tell, and we'll see, hopefully, more defensive play, and that will come into play for the Florida game.
It would be huge if they can pick up the win this week against Florida. Not a lot of confidence has been given. They're now up to 10 straight SEC home losses. And coincidentally, their last win was over 760 days ago when they beat Florida 33-14 in Kroger Field.
Yeah, I think the key to beating this Florida team is, like you said, turning over DJ Lagway and winning the turnover battle on Saturday.
Moving on to Kentucky volleyball, 2-0 with 2 sweeps last week extends the winning streak to 15 matches. What are you guys' thoughts?
Yeah, they're now 11-0 in SEC play. They control their destiny for SEC championship number 9. I mean, their win against Texas was incredible. They dominated Texas in the first set and then won 2 nail-biter sets in sets 2 and 3 to give them the sweep against a great team.
Yeah, their sweep against Vanderbilt wasn't all that surprising to anyone, I don't think. But being able to go into Texas's home turf and sweep them is pretty remarkable, especially considering they're the number 2 team in the country. It was the first time that Texas has been swept at home since 2013. So 10-plus years of just not losing badly at home, and Kentucky ruins that. It allowed them to jump up to the number 2 rank in the country, jumping Texas, where they had been behind them for about a month. So it was a big win.
Yeah, I feel like Kentucky just feels disrespected. They won 6 straight SEC championships before Texas and Oklahoma joined the SEC. And both this year and last year, Texas was preseason picked to win it. and Kentucky won it last year, and they look to win it this year. I just feel like they're getting disrespected. I mean, they've won 6 straight, and both years they were picked second. I think in 2024 they were picked third behind Florida and Texas. This year they were picked second behind Texas. I just feel like they're getting disrespected after winning 6 straight.
Once again, our athlete of the week comes from the spectacular volleyball team, and it's none other than Purdue transfer Eva Hudson. In the sweeps over Vandy and Texas, Hudson finished with double-doubles in each game and hit pretty efficiently. In the Vandy match, she had 14 kills and 11 digs with a .520 hitting percentage and added 3 total blocks. And then in the sweep over Texas, she had 20 kills, 11 digs, hit .452 with 2 total blocks and added a service ace. For those 2 efforts, she was named as the AVCA National Player of the Week, which surprisingly is just the 5th time in Kentucky history that they've held that honor and the first since Leah Edmond won it in 2019.
Yeah, I'm shocked Brooklyn DeLay doesn't have one of hers in her career yet, but I mean, Hudson's just been great, not only last week, but this entire year. I mean, she's 19th in the country in kills per set, and she's given Kentucky a real chance to win another national championship under Craig Skinner. I mean, last year, they really didn't have the person on the other side of the net outside of DeLay, and this year Hudson gives them a 1A and a 1B on this year's team.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Kernel at the Buzzer. Be sure to check out our website at kykernel.com.
And follow us on other platforms such as X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Spotify.
Thanks for listening to Kernel at the Buzzer.